If the Championship season ended now, Middlesbrough would be automatically promoted up to the Premier League. They sit in second spot as we go into international break number 2. Quite the turnaround after a really bad start to 2025 and a bad end to last season. Saw Michael Carrick get sacked and replaced by Rob Edwards in the summer. We had a good chat about what Rob Edwards has done to turn things around at Boro on the Sportsman Untitled podcast yesterday with Jonny from the Boro Breakdown podcast. We're going to run a clip now and you can see the whole conversation linked up there at the end of the video.
It's time to talk about Middlesbrough in depth. This is why we've got Jonny on the show. And what a week to talk about them. They were unbeaten heading into the weekend. Then they go and lose 1-0 at Portsmouth. Great timing, Jonny. But it's been a good start on the whole, hasn't it, for Boro?
It's been a fantastic start. A really nice surprise. All three of us said mid-table, so we all look foolish now, even though it's after 9 games. Taking away the last game against Portsmouth, I'm really, really happy with where we are. We look a lot more solid. Yes, safe in possession, but we're slowly just chipping away, and I think it's really fantastic because last couple of seasons we've had a really slow start and had to play catch up. Now this time, averaging 2 points a game in a comfortable position in second place. So now we can afford maybe 1 or 2 defeats and still be in a decent position. And
we have to talk about the impact that Edwards has had. We've talked about it because he is good at all the PR. He's great at getting fans on side. He's great at buying into the club. But it feels like he rode the crest of a wave coming in and turned things around very quickly. And that unbeaten run top of the table for quite a long time of the season, it's gone really, really well. And as a Carrick replacement, he's probably exceeded your expectations.
He definitely has. When you looked at Boro's fixtures and went, that's a bit of a tough start.
It was the toughest start statistically in the Championship, by the way.
Exactly, and then to come away with what we've got and barely conceding goals and looking more defensively sound, it's been nice.
Jonny, is it just because he's the binary of Carrick? Is he just so... Because Carrick was kind of quiet and understated, and Edwards has got the $1 million smile and, like you say, is brilliant with the fans and the media. Carrick maybe wasn't pragmatic, and I'm not going to say the team wasn't organised because they were organised in a different way, but has he almost just done all the opposite things that Carrick didn't do, and thus they've had such a big effect?
You can say that, yeah. I think if you break down what the 3 things that Rob Edwards has done since he's came in, one is set pieces. Middlesbrough are much better on set pieces than they have been under the last couple of seasons. I would say change of shape, so going into a back 3 and then in possession. If you watch Luton in the Premier League, you'll see a lot of similarities where when they're in possession, they'll move to a back 4 where one of the full-backs will tuck across. At Luton, it was Doughty, and now it's Callum Britton on the right-hand side, so it's flipped. And then you go into a 4-2-4 shape, and then you'll have your 2 who play pretty much box-to-box. One sits, one tends to go, which just tends to be Hackney. But that shape in the back 3 and playing a lot deeper has helped us play a lot more safe, make sure we're not getting caught in the transition as much. And then that third point as well is we're a much more vertical team now. It's very much try and play in a straight line and then hopefully create that chance, and it's less is more in terms of quality chances. Boro are down there for XG now, I think the 3rd or 4th bottom, but it's just because we're trying.
Never get caught ahead of the ball, yeah?
Exactly, yeah. And we play now where we're looking for more quality, but that creative spark is probably one thing where you look at and go, a Middlesbrough, when it dries up, when teams sit deep like Portsmouth did, are they able to break them down? They have the quality to do it, but I think they're just playing with a little bit of a handbrake on at the moment.
One goal in the last 3.
Yeah, 1 in the last 3. So you can see where teams are starting to nullify that. In that first game, and I think where Edwards has been really pragmatic in some capacity, where the first game against Swansea in the first half against Middlesbrough were getting the ball to the centre-back to 10, missed out Hackney and Morris, who are arguably your 2 best players. We switched it in the second half against Millwall and played through Hackney a lot more, and we just unlocked a lot of things, and we've started to play that now. But now teams are going, well, actually, I can probably give Hackney and Morris the ball, but if we just sit a little bit deeper and block the 10, then it's not going to get anywhere. So I think the next iteration of what Edwards will have to look at is how do we use the wing-backs more? How do we get them higher up the pitch? Matt Targett on the left-hand side was more defensive, but you've got Callum Britton there who's got really good delivery, probably one of the best right-backs in the Championship in terms of getting forward and whip the ball into the box. So there's a lot to like about this team, but I think Edwards has made those really nice tweaks along with Adi Vivesh as well, which is a very counter-attacking coach. I think it's starting to play on Boro's strengths a little bit more, where the transition was relatively quite good and they're a lot more safer. But then I feel like in a couple of weeks you're going to ask me, Jonny, when is Rob Edwards going to take the handbrake off Boro, and when are they going to start flying again?
We obviously talk about Hackney and Morris a lot as a duo, and they're kind of the names that roll off the tongue, aren't they, when you talk about Boro? Just how good are they as a duo, and how far can they take Boro?
And can I throw in as well, Simon, compare and contrast with Caust and Matasiwa at Ipswich? I think it's between those two teams for the best central midfield pair in the Championship.
Matt Grimes, Victor Torp, Jack Rodona, no? Can I throw?
To be fair, I would say it's a very good midfield
it's
three.
a good top three.
It's a very good top three, to be honest. But I do think Morris and Hackney are the best in the Championship, to be honest. But I will be biased. I'm a Middlesbrough fan. But Hackney could have easily been an Ipswich shirt, so. And I thought it was going to happen. I wouldn't have blamed him. It was a lot more money than he's getting at Teesside. And I thought, fair enough, promotion, they're probably going to get it. But for him to stay, I think that is such a big advantage now for Middlesbrough now, because I think if we lost him, all of our opinion of mid-table would have probably been accurate. But to have Hackney in the team, him and Morris just make such a big difference. But we've got some good depth there. Abdoulaye Kante, who's came in, he looks like a really nice tidy six as well. I've just forgot his name in terms of midfielder from Preston.
Brown,
that's the one. It was Brown. I was like, my name's just eluded me. But really good depth there now as midfield four, where previously we were looking at maybe Dan Barlaser to play that role, and he couldn't really do it. So, yeah, there's definitely improvement in that midfield. And I think with Hackney and Morris, you've got the blend of someone who is an engine in Morris and someone Hackney who can just bring the ball forward, and he's probably one of the best midfielders to do that in the league.
I'll come to you on this one, Ben. We've seen Rob Edwards when it's all going well and how good his teams can be. They've now not scored in two. They've lost their last game. Their unbeaten run's gone. How will he respond this season to a couple of defeats in a row? And can he do better than he did at Luton last season?
I think he will. I think the Luton was a bit of a imperfect storm, wasn't it? That they'd reached a decades high peak that they were coming down off as a club, and we've all raised you spend your parachute payments on a stadium and don't really spend when you're in the Premier League. And dare I say, Steve Gibson probably, invests more than Luton did, even when they had parachute payments. But you're right to point out it's completely unravelled. He looks like he's got his mojo back, doesn't he? And we do a lot with these projections, and you already mentioned 2 points per game at round 9. Even if it's 1.8, and I'll keep talking about this next block at round 15, you don't have to be amazing to get in the playoffs after that. You're just nice and consistent for the remaining 30 and you're up there. So I don't know how you feel about where Boro sit in this hierarchy. We almost don't know what it is, because are Southampton going to come strong? Are Leicester going to get deducted lots of points and put them on the back foot? Are Ipswich now going to go silly? Are West Brom going to come back? And there's more evidence that Boro are consistent than all of those teams, really.
If you want my opinion on it, I feel this season might turn into your regular season, where it's the three parachute teams and one other. At the moment, I think the one other is probably going to be Coventry, but Boro, I think, are probably closer to fourth in terms of Leicester. Southampton, all their data is good. I think they will come good if they stick with Will Still. Ipswich, I think, should be title favourites for a reason, given their squad depth. You've got a game in hand and you're only 6 points off top, which for a start of the season, which has had its issues, I think is very good. And Leicester, really, really good, as long as they don't get points deducted. So we just have to take them at face value at the minute.
Can I throw one more thing in about Boro?
Go on, please.
Jonny's description, he described a team that would be very good at tournament football. Okay. And we know how the season ends if you finish between 3rd and 6th.
Just saying, we've never won at Wembley.
Have expectations changed for Boro already this season? We said maybe mid-table at the start of the season. Obviously, you were top of the league for a little while, or you're in second at the minute as we go into the international break. Surely, you're getting a bit giddy, surely.
It has to change. I think a lot of fans now are starting to go, well, the expectation is like playoffs. It has to be playoffs. And you can probably argue some fans might say, hey, we were top of the league, we should be going up automatic. And, this season will be very, very interesting for Middlesbrough. I think the one question I think we have to answer is just, can we ensure that creativity is kept, and can we still create chances and more high quality chances? If we don't do that, then I don't think we'll.
Johnny, do you accept the premise though that they underachieved last season and that the playoffs is kind of par for Boro anyway?
Yeah, we definitely underachieved last year. The numbers were always good for Middlesbrough. You know, we always created chances. Yes, we give stuff away, but when you look at from that post-January, you lose Manuel Latilaf, you lose Ben Doak, who your two most creative outlets were gone. We didn't have any defenders. We were playing Jonny Howson at centre-half in the last day of the season. And I think it all just unravelled for Michael Carrick, to be honest, at that time. And yes, it was definitely a failure in the end to miss out and be in such bad form than we were.
And when it was only 68 points or whatever as well, yeah.
That's what makes you a little bit sick, to be honest, because we were comfortably a playoff team for most of the season. And we were really competitive against everyone, but from that January, when you start to play Kelechi Iheanacho in the 10 and he's just not fit, and then you're playing everyone like Finazaz as well, you've got no runners in behind, it was just all too compact, nothing was breaking down. All the goodness that you're seeing from Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough was just gone. And then you were starting to give up more and more chances because you're becoming more desperate, and then it all just unravelled from there.
I think it's been interesting to see the evolution this season for sure. I'm always putting Boro in the playoffs in the top 6, and I think this season I didn't because I was sure Hackney was going to leave. I think if you'd have said Hackney's going to be in the Boro team, I think people, as you mentioned, would have changed their opinion. Do you want to predict a Boro finish for us, or? Go on, top 6, sure.
Well, to be honest, I even our prediction show, I still said 8th to 10th because I just felt that we just weren't there yet, and we still doesn't know his front three yet. You know, we've got Conway, David Strelic, Kelly Sen, and you look at Sonny Jansen as well, and you're going, there's quite a few players that you can maybe put into this three, and obviously Sverre Nipan as well, and you just go, once that clicks, maybe you can go, okay, well, yeah, probably top 6 would be comfortable. I feel like I've had so many years of just let down in terms of like, we were so close and then we keep failing. I've just become pessimistic and just been like, nah, we're going to be 10th, I'm not going to do playoffs this year, like, forget about it. But I'm going to have to say playoffs now.
Go on.
If I don't say playoffs now, I'll probably get lynched in Middlesbrough if I do that.
And also, the first game back after the international break, Ben, is Middlesbrough versus Ipswich. It's the Friday night game.
It's almost like this is planned, isn't it?
Almost. Tough game for Ipswich, tough game for Boro.
Yeah, and you then need to factor in 3-game week, and is a draw okay at the start of the week if you're going to end up putting 5-6 points on the board? I know you're going to be previewing it properly next week, but yeah, I think both sides will look at that as a hard game, and then both sides will be like, right, can we lay down a marker and go and win this one now? So it's going to be a good one.
Just Chuba Akpom, 94th minute, and it's just going to be
he's not in the 11 at the moment, Johnny.
Look, it's typical Boro. Like, honestly, every time we have a former player come to the Riverside, they always just turn into like a prime Messi, and it's just like, I'm honest to God, I am so nervous for this game. I think Ipswich are slowly getting there. Like, the wheels are in motion now.
Sing to me.
And I think they have so much quality, like, you know. And I think it's only that one game where it just all comes together. And I genuinely thought the game of the weekend against Norwich was the one where they're just going to start to go sizzler. And with Boro as well, they're not creating too many chances at the moment. Are we going to give up the ball as enough? So one side, it might fall in our favour because we don't have much of the ball and we have to be on the transition. That might favour us. But the second part of it is the quality of Ipswich, where I'm just a bit nervous, and Chuba Akpom and just breaking my heart from there.
Excellent.